DeLeone Sanciella, what's up, y'all? Bless the essence for the essence. Bless the psychic trauma here. Hashtag living the stream, all right? Don't know why I'm posting this because I might just turn off chat. But anyways, um, let's get ready to study. Let's get ready for some compTIA Security Plus Lesson 2. We should be way further along, dude. Oh, whew. All right. I don't know if y'all can smell that. I'm making some chicken stuffing. Pretty good. Oh. 4 days ago, we finished um, the lesson 1. Yep. All right, that's good. We'll go here. Go here. Right, everything looks like it's all right. Oh my God, dude. Alrighty, that's going. All right, let's go here. I have some chili made. Um, you have unlocked practice makes perfect. No, okay. Complete first practice question. Oh, alrighty. Let's share screen. Share screen. Structured plan. Allow. Here we are. Like that. Okay. So here we are. Lesson 2, compare threat types. 1 of 11 tasks. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's get started, yo. There's a new app version. Please refresh to receive the newest version. Oh my fucking God, dude. Motherfuckers. What part of remember me do you not fucking understand? I clicked on. Oh my fucking God, dude. Why is this not fucking working? Oh, there we go. Nope, misspelled it. Amazing awesomeness is me. All right. Here we are, lesson 2. Present. Share screen. Share screen. Select screen. Lesson 2, topic 2A. Threat actors. Okay. Lesson 2, compare threat types. To make an effective security assessment, you must be able to explain strategies for both defense and attack. Your responsibilities are likely to lie principally in defending assets. But to do this, you must be able to explain the tactics, techniques, and procedures of threat actors. You must also be able to differentiate types and capabilities of threat actors and the ways they can exploit the attack surface that your networks and systems expose. Lesson objectives. In this lesson, you will do the following. Compare and contrast attributes and motivations of threat actor types. Explain common threat vectors and attack surfaces. I don't know if you guys can smell it. It smells delicious. Okay, 6 minutes in. Here, let's turn this off.
And see what's going on there. To tell us more about it, we brought in Brian Calkin from Cyber. You know, it's
Happy
always
Wednesday, everybody.
Compare and contrast the threat actors and their motivations and see what's going on there. To tell us more about it, we brought in Brian Calkin from Cyber. He is the CTO over there. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing well, James. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Tell us a bit about yourself. Let's start talking about that.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in cybersecurity now for 20 years. I can't believe it's been that long, but it certainly has been. Various roles in the past, operational, management, executive, currently I'm the chief technology officer. A company called CyberWalk. We do cyber protective services for high net worth individuals and civilians.
You know, as you work, do your work, you clearly have come across quite a few threat actors before. Let's talk about the characteristics of these threat actors. You've got nation states, you've got activists, insider threats. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, sure. So when I think threat actors, I basically put them into one of four different buckets. So you mentioned nation states. That's certainly one. Nation states, you can think highly funded, highly skilled, highly organized countries, governments that are out looking to attack other countries and gain intellectual property and information, espionage, those types of things. Cyber criminals certainly, as the name would imply, looking to steal money and get money into basically to go make a few dollars out there to the victims. Activists generally more ideological, motivated. They're trying to right some wrong or some perceived injustice that they've come across and they want to go and make it right. And then, of course, insider threats, whether it be intentional insiders or, unknowingly people trying to do good out there and inadvertently opening up vulnerabilities and information.
Of these different types of threat actors, we'll stick with the kind of the active threat actors. Which ones tend to be better funded, or does that even matter?
I think it does matter. I think that certainly the best funded threat actor out there is going to be a nation state threat actor. They are, for certain, have the most funding, have the most resources. They are, again, in most cases, government funded, and so they've got the government dollars to back them in whatever they need. So they've got the best tools and the sharpest talent as well. And they are very stealthy, very sneaky. Cyber criminals also well funded because they're in the business of making money, so they're spending money to make money. Activists maybe not as fun. Not as well.
Does funding imply sophistication? In other words, are there some folks who aren't particularly well funded, but they're really good? Does that happen?
Oh, absolutely. I think that there's lots of folks, and threat actors in particular, that are very sharp and very skilled, but may not have the funds to go out and spend a lot of money on the best software or systems or those types of things. So they'll use things that are maybe freely available or even things that are resident on systems themselves, tools and things that legitimate administrators might use to administer systems that they might take advantage of in order to do harm in some way.
And you mentioned, for example, like activists, and then you've got folks who are organized crime or state level. What are some of the goals of these? Can you map certain goals to certain types of groups in general?
Yeah, sure. I think, starting with nation states, their primary goal in many cases, things like espionage. They want to disrupt critical systems amongst the country. I've even seen cases where there'll be a nation state behind compromising many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of systems to then use them collectively together for an attack. And I think and another one is been quite popular is them, stealing intellectual property from other nations and people. Right? And so the example I use is like a nuclear submarine or a nuclear battleship, for instance. Why bother spending your own R&D budget when you can just go and steal somebody else's end result after they've already spent all the time and energy to do this?
So they mean they're not really after revenge usually or whatever. They're looking for exfiltration rights.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They want to take a step ahead and they want to do it in the quickest and most efficient way possible. So there's a better way than to steal from somebody else.
But earlier you mentioned threat actors like people needing to do well. I think you're bringing up the concept of shadow IT. Explain how that works and why it's considered kind of a threat.
Sure. Yeah. So shadow IT, the general idea is that, in these jobs that we've all been part of and folks are applying to, you run into very technical, highly skilled people, and so those people want to do good in the organization, and then they oftentimes will say take matters into their own hands. And so they might set up a system for a network, or make a firewall rule change, or whatever the case may be, in order to help advance their project to get the job accomplished. What they don't realize, and it's not intentional in most cases, is they're inadvertently opening up a hole in the organization and vulnerability that, had they coordinated with the organization at large, they would have realized, but because they're just, heads down, focused, trying to get the job done, they just don't see it. They can't see it.
And oftentimes it's not documented, so it's in the shadows. Nobody knows where it is.
Exactly, hence the term, right? So they're just going off and doing it, and I've seen that happen before in the past, where somebody will have made a change like that, not documented anywhere, and then they leave the organization. They move on to another job, and then we come across this thing that someone's done, and we say, "Well, who did this? I can do it. You do it." And then you have to kind of track down the history of it and find out why things are the way they are.
Brian, thank you so much for talking and comparing common threat actors, their motivations, and how those things work. Sure appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. Thanks.
All right. Rate your confidence. Dick pill level of confidence. All right. 2 of 9. Introduction. Threat actors. Topic 2A. Threat actors. Exam objectives covered. 2.1. Compare and contrast common threat actors and motivations. When you assess your organization's security posture, you must apply the concept of vulnerability, threat, and risk. Risk is a measure of the likelihood and impact of a threat actor being able to exploit a vulnerability in your organization's security systems. To evaluate these factors, you must be able to evaluate the sources of threats or threat actors. This topic will help you to classify and evaluate the motivation and capabilities of threat actor types so that you can assess and mitigate risk more effectively. Rate your confidence. Dick pills. Dick pill level of confidence. Vulnerability, threat, and risk. Security teams must identify ways in which their systems could be attacked. These assessments involve vulnerability, threat, and risk. Vulnerability is a weakness that could be triggered accidentally or exploited intentionally to cause a security breach. Fuck. Let's turn this off because I don't need to be blinded right now. Oh, smells good. All right. A vulnerability is a weakness that can be triggered accidentally or exploited intentionally to cause a security breach. Example vulnerabilities include improperly configured or installed hardware or software, delays in applying and testing software and firmware patches, poorly designed network architecture, inadequate physical security, insecure password usage, and design flaws in software or operating system. Factors such as the value of the vulnerable assets and the ease of exploiting the fault determine the severity of vulnerabilities. Threat. Threat is the potential for someone or something to exploit a vulnerability and breach security. A threat can have an intentional motivation or be unintentional. The person or thing that possesses the threat is called a threat actor or threat agent. The path or tool used by a malicious threat actor is a threat vector. Risk is the level of hazard posed by vulnerabilities and threats. When a vulnerability is identified, risk is calculated as the likelihood of it being exploited by a threat actor and the impact that a successful exploit would have. Click the I for more information. Vulnerability, asset value, ease of exploitation. Weakness that could be triggered accidentally or maliciously. Asset value of system with vulnerability will determine impact. Ease of exploiting vulnerability will determine likelihood. Threat. Internal, external, malicious, accidental, threat actor, threat vector. Potential of the threat actor to exploit vulnerability. Threat actors may be internal or external. Threat actors may act maliciously or accidentally. Attack vector is the specific tool or path for the attack. Overall risk is calculated from impact and likelihood. Impact, loss to the organization of an exploit. Likelihood of a threat actor successfully exploiting a vulnerability. So vulnerability plus threat equals risk. Dick level pills of confidence. Attributes of threat actors. Historically, cybersecurity techniques relied on the identification of static known threats, such as viruses or rootkits, Trojans, botnets, and exploits for specific software vulnerabilities. It is relatively straightforward to identify and scan for these types of threats with automated software. Unfortunately, adversaries were able to develop means of circumventing this type of signature-based scanning. The sophisticated nature of modern cybersecurity threats requires the creation of profiles of threat, actor types, and behaviors. This analysis involves identifying the attributes of threat actors, location, capability, resources, funding, and motivation. Internal versus or internal, external refers to the degrees of access that a threat actor possesses before initiating an attack. An external threat actor has no account or authorized access to the target system. A malicious external threat must infiltrate the security system using unauthorized access, such as breaking into a building or hacking into a network. Note that an external actor may perpetrate an attack remotely or on premises. It is the threat actor that is external rather than the attack method. Conversely, an internal insider threat actor has been granted permissions on the system. This typically means an employee, but insider threats can also arise from contractors or business partners. Level of sophistication, capability. Level of sophistication and capability refers to a threat actor's ability to use advanced exploit techniques and tools. The least capable threat actor relies on commodity attack tools that are widely available. More capable actors can fashion new exploit and operating systems, application software, and embedded control systems. At the highest level, a threat actor might use non-cyber tools such as political or military assets. Resources and funding. A high level of capability must be supported by resources and funding. Sophisticated threat actor groups need to be able to acquire resources such as customized attack tools and skilled strategists. Designers, coders, hackers, and social engineers, the most capable threat actor groups receiving funding from nation states and organized crime. Rate your confidence? Dick level pills. Our confidence is so good, it's like taking dick pills. Dick pill level of confidence. Motivation of threat actors. Motivation is the threat actor's reasons for perpetuating the act. A malicious threat actor could be motivated by greed, curiosity, or some grievance, for instance. Threat actors, I gotta move this because that light keeps fucking. All right. This is under curiosity grievance. Threats can be characterized as structured, targeted, or unstructured, opportunistic, depending on how widely an attack is perpetrated. For example, a criminal gang attempting to steal customers' financial data from a company's database system is a structured, targeted threat. An unskilled hacker launching some variant of the I love you email worm sent to a stolen mailing list is an unstructured, opportunistic threat. A threat actor with malicious motivation. It is 80 degrees here and 78 degrees outside. Um, a threat actor with malicious motivation can be contrasted with an accidental or unintentional threat actor. An unintentional threat actor represents accidents, oversights, and other mistakes. To help analyze motivations, it is first useful to consider the general strategies that a threat actor could use to achieve an objective. Service disruption prevents an organization from working as it does normally. This could involve an attack on their website or using malware to block access to servers and employee workstations. Service disruption can be an end in itself if the threat actor's motivation is to sow chaos or gain revenge. Service disruption can be used as a blackmail threat, or it can be used as a tactic in the pursuit of some different strategic objective. Hold on, I gotta. Um, yeah, I posted the link, but I'm doing this. This really isn't a live stream for people to come up. I don't know why I posted the link. Sorry about that. Data exfiltration transfers a copy of some type of valuable information from a computer or network without authorization. A threat actor might perform this type of theft because they want the data assets for themselves, because they can exploit its loss as blackmail, or sell it to a third party. Disinformation falsifies some type of trusted resource, such as changing the content of a website, manipulating search engines to inject fake sites, or using bots to post false information to social media. You can relate these strategies to the way they affect the confidentiality, information, or integrity, availability triad. Data exfiltration compromises confidentiality, disinformation attacks integrity, and service disruption targets availability. Chaotic motivations. In the early days of the internet, many service disruption and disinformation attacks were perpetuated with the simple goal of causing chaos. Hackers might deface websites or release worms that brought corporate networks to a standstill for no other reason than to gain credit for the hack. This type of vandalism for its own sake is less prevalent now. Attackers might use service disruption and disinformation to further political ends, or nation states might use it to further war aims. Another risk is threat actors motivated by revenge. Revenge attacks might be perpetuated by an employee or former employee or by any external party with a grievance. Financial motivations. As hacking and malware became both more sophisticated and better commodified, the opportunities to use them for financial gain grew quickly. If an attacker is able to steal data, they might be able to sell it to other parties. Alternatively, they might use an attack to threaten the victim with blackmail or extortion or to perpetuate fraud. Blackmail is demanding payment to prevent the release of information. A threat actor might have stolen information or created false data that makes it appear as though the target has committed a crime. Extortion is demanding payment to prevent or halt some type of an attack. For example, a threat actor might have used malware to block access to an organization's computers and demand payment to unlock them. Fraud is falsifying records. Internal fraud might involve tampering with accounts to embezzle funds or inventing customer details to launder money. Criminals might use disinformation to commit fraud, such as posting fake news to affect the share price of a company, promote pyramid schemes, or to create fake companies. Political motivations. A political motivation means that the threat actor uses an attack to bring about some type of change in society or governance. This can cover a wide variety of This can cover a wide range of motivations. An employee acting as a whistleblower because of some ethical concern about the organization's behavior, or using illicit behavior to gather information for whistleblowing. A campaign group disrupting the services of an organization that they believe acts in contradiction to their ethical or philosophical beliefs. A nation state using service disruption, data exfiltration, or disinformation against government organizations or companies in another state in pursuit of war aims. Nation states commonly perpetuate espionage and disinformation attacks against one another. Whether or not they're at war, in cybersecurity, espionage is a type of data exfiltration aimed to learn secrets rather than sell them or use the theft for blackmail. There's also the threat of commercial espionage, where a company attempts to steal the secrets of a competitor. Rate your confidence. Um, Congratulations, K Dog. I hear you skated on those charges. Yeah, they dismissed the case. Not as soon as I would like, and they did not dismiss the other one. So I'm still, kind of about whether or not 43-star flag. We still have custom armbands right up here. This this one up here, in case we need the custom armband with the 43-star flag. Still thinking about sending the email to the CIA that says, if the District of Colorado and the state of Colorado don't go back to sealing and expunging my record and reinstating my rights to bear arms, dishonorably discharge and garnish the state of Colorado. I was thinking about it. Maybe today or tomorrow we might send that email. Alrighty. Okay, so we checked out this. Rate your confidence. Dick pill level of confidence. Hackers and hacktivists. Given awareness of the general strategies and motivations, it can also be helpful to evaluate the risk that well-known threat actor types or profiles pose to a business. Hackers. Hacker describes an individual who has the skills to gain access to computer systems through unauthorized or unapproved means. Originally, hacker was a neutral term for a user who excelled at computer programming and computer system administration. Hacking into a system was a sign of technical skill and creativity that gradually became associated with illegal or malicious system intrusions. The terms unauthorized, previously known as black hat, and authorized, previously known as white hat, are used to distinguish these motivations. A white hat hacker always seeks authorization to perform penetration testing of private and proprietary systems. Unskilled attackers. An unskilled attacker is someone who uses hacker tools without necessarily understanding how they work or having the ability to craft new attacks. Unskilled attackers might have no specific target or any reasonable goal other than gaining attention or proving technical abilities. Hacker teams and hacktivists. The historical image of a hacker is that of a loner acting as an individual with few resources or funding. While the lone hacker remains a threat that must be accounted for, the threat actors are now likely to work as part of a team or group. The collaborative team effort means that these threat actors are able to develop sophisticated tools and novel strategies. A hacktivist group uses cyber weapons to promote a political agenda. Hacktivists might attempt to use data exfiltration to obtain and release confidential information to the public domain, perform service disruption attacks, or deface websites to spread disinformation. Political media and financial groups and companies are most at risk of becoming a target for hacktivists, but environmental and animal advocacy groups may target companies in a wide range of industries. Dick pill level of confidence. Nation state actors. Most nation states have developed cybersecurity enterprises and will use cyber weapons to achieve military and commercial goals. The security company Mandiant's APT-1 report into Chinese cyber espionage units shaped the language and understanding of cyber attack life cycles. The term advanced persistent threat (APT) was coined to understand the behavior underpinning modern types of cyber adversaries. Rather than think in terms of systems being infected with a virus or Trojan, an APT refers to the ability of an adversary to achieve ongoing compromise of a network security, to obtain and maintain access using a variety of tools and techniques. Nation state actors have been implicated in many attacks, particularly on energy, health, and electoral systems. The goals of state actors are primarily disinformation and espionage for strategic advantage, but it is a known for country, but it is a known for countries, North Korea being a good example, to target companies for financial gain. The MITRE attack. All right. Admin at 388 is a China-based cyber threat group. It has previously used newsworthy events as lures to deliver malware and has primarily targeted organizations involved with financial, economic, and trade policy, typically using publicly available remote access tools such as Poison Ivy, as well as some non-public backdoors. Okay, so here's a list of just APTs. Descriptions. Researchers such as the MITRE Corporation report on the activities of organized crime and nation state actors screenshot this shit. All right. State actors will work at arm's length from the national government, military, and security service that sponsor and protects them, maintaining plausible deniability. They are likely to pose in independent groups or even as hacktivists. They may wage false flag disinformation campaigns that try to implicate other states. Rate your confidence. Get pill level of confidence. In many countries, cybercrime has overtaken physical crime in terms of the number of incidences and losses. Organized crime can operate across the internet from a different jurisdiction than its victim, increasing the complexity of prosecution. Criminals will seek any opportunity for profit, but typical activities are financial fraud against individuals and companies and blackmail extortion. Most espionage is thought to be pursued by state actors, but it is not inconceivable that a rogue business might use cyber espionage against its competitors. Such attacks could aim at theft or to disrupt a competitor's business or damage their reputation. Competitor attacks might be facilitated by employees who have recently changed companies and bring insider knowledge with them. Rate your confidence. Dick pill level of confidence. Page 9 out of 9. Internal threat actors. Internal threat actors. Many threat actors operate externally from the networks they target. An external actor has to break into the system without having any legitimate permissions. An internal threat or insider threat arises from an actor identified by the organization and granted some type of access. Within this group of internal threats, you can distinguish insiders with permanent privileges, such as employees from insiders with temporary privileges, such as contractors and guests. There is the blurred case of former insiders, such as ex-employees now working at another company or who have been dismissed and now harbor a grievance. These can be classified as internal threats or treated as external threats with insider knowledge, with possibly some residual permissions, if effective offboarding controls are not in place. The main motivators for a malicious internal threat actor are revenge and financial gain. Like external threats, insider threats can be opportunistic or targeted. An employee who plans and executes a campaign to modify invoices and divert funds is launching a structured attack. An employee who tries to guess the password on the salary database a couple of times, having noticed that the file is available on the network, is perpetuating an opportunistic attack. You must also assess the possibility that an insider threat may be working in collaboration with an external threat actor or group. Alrighty. A whistleblower is someone with an ethical motivation for releasing confidential information. While this could be classed as an internal threat in some respects, it is important to realize that whistleblowers making protected disclosures, such as reporting financial fraud through an unauthorized channel, cannot themselves be threatened or labeled in any way that seems retaliatory or punitive. Insider threats can also arise from unintentional sources. Unintentional or inadvertent insider threat is often caused by lack of awareness or carelessness, such as users demonstrating poor password management. Another example of unintentional insider threat is the concept of shadow IT, where users purchase or introduce computer hardware or software to the workplace without the sanction of the IT department and without going through a procurement and security analysis process. The problem with shadow IT is exacerbated by the proliferation of cloud services and mobile devices, which are easy for users to obtain. Shadow IT creates a new unmonitored attack surface for malicious adversaries to exploit. Dick pill level of confidence. All right. Review activity threat actors. 10 knowledge points, less than 15 minutes. All right. Which of the following would be assessed by likelihood of impact, vulnerability, threat, or risk? Risk? Risk. To assess likelihood and impact, you must identify both vulnerability and the threat posed by a potential exploit. We got that one. True or false? Nation state actors only pose a risk to other states. False. False. Nation state actors have targeted commercial interests for theft, espionage, or extortion. You receive an email with a screenshot showing a command prompt at one of your application servers. The email suggests you engage the hacker for a day's consultancy to patch the vulnerability. How should you categorize this threat? You receive an email with a screenshot showing a command prompt at one of your application servers. The email suggests you engage the hacker for a day's consultancy to patch the vulnerability. How do you categorize this threat? Malicious? I don't think it's independent. I don't understand the question. If the consultancy is refused and the hacker takes no further action, it can be classified as for financial gain only. If the offer is declined and the hacker then threatens to sell the exploit or to publicize the vulnerability, then the motivation is criminal. No, we did not get that right. Which type of threat actor is primarily motivated by the desire for political change? Hacktivist. Brandon, we got that right. Which three types of threat actor are most likely to have high levels of funding? Nation state, um, corporate. I don't understand. I don't know. State actors, organized crimes, and competitors. Ish. Okay. Kinda. Alrighty. Topic 2B, attack surfaces. 10 knowledge points. Compare threat types. 2B, attack surfaces. Study task. Topic 2B, attack surfaces. Exam objectives cover. 2.2, explain common threat vectors and attack surfaces. Understanding the methods by which threat actors infiltrate networks and systems is essential for you to assess the attack surfaces of your networks and deploy controls to block attack vectors. Okay, after this, I think we're going to maybe take a break so I can eat. I don't know if you heard the beep. My stuffing's done, and I'm hungry. I also got to get some salad. Rate your confidence, dick pill level of confidence. All right, attack surface and threat vectors. The attack surface is all the points at which a malicious threat actor can try to exploit a vulnerability. Any location or method where a threat actor can interact with a network, port, app, computer, or user is part of a potential attack surface. Minimizing the attack surface means restricting access so that only a few known endpoints, protocols, ports, and services methods are permitted. Each of these must be assessed for vulnerabilities and monitored for intrusions. Alrighty. All right, here's the internet line. Here's your local network. All right. Public facing servers get hacked. Public facing servers suffer denial of service. Public facing name servers get hacked. Messaging allows transmission of malicious attachments to private computers. All right. Site premises. Internal servers get hacked via malicious devices taken within site. Backdoors open via employee shadow IT devices. Malicious insiders misuse permissions. Oh, listen. An organization has an overall attack surface. You can also assess attack surfaces at more limited scopes, such as that of a single server or computer, a web application, or employee identities and accounts. To evaluate the attack surface, you need to consider the attributes of the threat actors that pose the most risk to your organization. For example, the attack surface for an external actor should be far smaller than that of an insider threat. From a threat actor's perspective, each part of the attack surface represents a potential vector for attempting an intrusion. A threat actor is the path that a threat actor uses to execute data exfiltration, service disruption, or disinformation attack. Sophisticated threat actors will make use of multiple factors. They are likely to plan a multi-stage campaign rather than a single smash and grab type of raid. Highly capable threat actors will be able to develop novel vectors. This means that the threat actor's knowledge of your organization's attack surface may be better than your own. So did you guys catch that part right there? So sophisticated threat actors will make use of multiple vectors. They're likely to plan a multi-stage campaign rather than a single smash and grab type of raid. Highly capable threat actors will be able to develop novel vectors. This means that the threat actor's knowledge of your organization's attack surface may be better than your own. The term threat vector and attack vector are often taken to mean the same thing. Some sources distinguish the use of threat vector to refer to an analysis of the potential attack surface and attack vector to analyze an exploit that has been successfully executed. Yeah, I think we have dick pill level confidence. 3 of 7. Vulnerable software vectors. Vulnerable software contains a flaw in its code or design that can be exploited to circumvent access control or to crash the process. Typically, vulnerabilities can only be exploited in quite specific circumstances and are often fixed, patched swiftly by the vendor. However, because of the complexity of modern software and the speed with which new versions must be released to the market, almost no software is free from vulnerabilities. Also, an organization might not have an effective patch management system. Consequently, vulnerable software is a commonly exploited threat vector. a large number of operating systems and applications running on a company's appliances, services, clients, and cloud networks directly increase the potential attack surface. This attack surface can be reduced by consolidating to fewer products and by ensuring the same version of a product is deployed across the organization. All right, y'all, I gotta go take a shit. Excuse me. Something's going on inside my belly. Alrighty, let's get back at it. Um, we're going to start over. Vulnerable software contains a flaw in its code or design that can be exploited to circumvent access control or to crash the process. Typically, vulnerabilities can only be exploited in quite specific circumstances and are often fixed, patched, or swiftly by the vendor. However, because of the complexity of modern software and the speed with which new versions must be released to market, almost no software is free from vulnerabilities. Also, an organization might not have an effective patch management system. Consequently, vulnerable software is commonly exploited threat vector. Vulnerable software is a commonly exploited threat vector. A large number of operating systems and applications running on a company's appliances. What? $93 an hour, support a living wage. I don't care if you're cleaning toilets or tossing baseballs. Yeah. So I have a live stream that's 2 hours long saying Palo Indian protest. They did a protest starting outside Coors Field after the baseball game because I was at the baseball game holding my sign. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Weak ass motherfuckers in my mind. Can't find their own spot to do a protest, so they got to take my fucking spot. Yeah, dude. On the railroad, dude. What the fuck was up with that, yo? Yeah, let's see if this is no longer blinding me in my face. It's no longer blinding me in my face. All right. Okay. That means you're getting to them. Yes, it does. Yes, it fucking does. Because think about it. They know who I am and they subscribe to my page and they follow me. All right. Because I was, what do you call that? The International Jew Conference, or the World Jew Conference, outside of the convention center with my I Heart Killing Sand Eggs t-shirt. And what do you call that? Um, I'm on an Instagram page, CO Palestine CO. So if you go to CO Palestine CO on Instagram, you got to scroll down, and then you what do you call that? Look. Oh, Two Troll. Come on, bro. What's your new channel? Two Chad. Come on, bro. Come on, dude. Well, Two Trolls still ain't dead yet, right? What's your ats thing? Come on. Where's your two main channels, bro? Don't be scared. Alrighty. Well, then go use them because we will. Uh, it's like a fucking Palatard Indian, dude. You couldn't hack your way out of a cardboard box, dude. Come on, yo. You know where I live, bro. You know I would hand your ass to you. That's why you wear your little mask. But anyways, the Palatard Indians, um, they know who I am. They follow my live streams. So they saw me protesting outside of Coors Field 2 days in a row. So then on the third day, they go and do it. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. When you have an exploited B page, let me know. And when you grow a set of nuts, come to Toronto. Well, isn't the same thing about you when you're ready to let your vagina drop and come to Denver? You know where I live. But anyways, yeah, we got to get back to this. So, yeah, a large number of operating systems and application running on a company's appliance services and clients and cloud networks directly increase the potential attack surface. This attack surface can be reduced by consolidating to fewer products and by ensuring the same version of a product is deployed across the organization. The impact and consequences of a software vulnerability are varied as two contrasting examples. Consider vulnerabilities affecting Adobe's PDF document reader versus a vulnerability in the server software underpinning transport security. The former could give a threat actor a foothold on a corporate network via a workstation. The latter can compromise the cryptographic keys used to provide secure web services. Both are potentially high impact for different reasons. If I'm not worth your time, why do you show up? Both are potentially high impact for different reasons. Alrighty. Unsupported systems and applications. Unsupported systems and applications are particular reasons that vulnerable software will be exposed as a threat actor. An unsupported system is one where its vendors no longer develops updates and patches unless the organization is able to patch the faulty code itself. These services and apps will be highly vulnerable to exploits. One strategy for dealing with unsupported apps that cannot be replaced is to try to isolate them from other systems. The ideal is to reduce opportunities for a threat actor to access the vulnerable app and to run exploit code. Using isolation as a substitute for patch management is an example of a compensating control. Client-based versus agentless. Scanning software helps organizations to automate the discovery and classification of software vulnerabilities. These tools can also be used by threat actors as part of a reconnaissance against a target. This scanning software can be implemented as a client-based agent. The agent runs as a scanning process installed on each host and reports to a management server. Alternatively, the vulnerability management product might use agentless techniques to scan a host without requiring any sort of installation. Agentless scanning is most likely to be used in threat actor reconnaissance. Click on Hi. Continue. You Yes, and you still haven't shown up with your new channel. Come on, where's your two Chad Fag ain't dead yet? Alrighty, network vectors. Vulnerable software gives a threat actor the opportunity to execute malicious code on a system. To do this, the threat actor must be able to run exploited code on the system or over a network to trigger the vulnerability. An exploit technique for any given software vulnerability can be classed as either remote or local. Remote means the vulnerability can be exploited by sending code to the target over a network and does not depend on an authenticated session with the system to execute. Local means that the exploited code must be executed from an authenticated session on the computer. The attack could still occur over a network, but the threat actor needs to use some valid credentials or hijack an existing session to execute it. Consequently, to minimize risk from software vulnerabilities, administrators must reduce the attack surface by eliminating unsecure networks. An unsecure network is one that lacks the attributes of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Lack of confidentiality. Threat actors are able to snoop on network traffic and recover passwords or other sensitive information. These are also described as eavesdropping attacks. Lack of integrity. Threat actors are able to attach unauthorized devices. These could be used to snoop on traffic or intercept or modify it. Run spoof services and apps or run exploited code against other network hosts. These are often described as on-path attacks. Lack of availability. Threat actors are able to perform service disruption attacks. These are also described as denial of service attacks, DOS attacks. A secure network uses an access control framework and cryptographic solutions to identify, authenticate, and authorize and audit network users, hosts, and traffic. Some specific threat vectors associated with unsecured networks are as follows. Direct access. The threat actor uses physical access to the site to perpetuate an attack. Examples could include getting access to an unlocked workstation, using a boot disk to try to install malicious tools, or physically stealing a PC, laptop, or disk drive. Wired network. A threat actor with access to the site attaches an unauthorized device to a physical network port, and the device is permitted to communicate with other hosts. This potentially allows the threat actor to launch eavesdropping, on-path, and denial of service attacks. Remote and wireless network. The attacker either obtains credentials for a remote access or wireless connection to the network, or cracks the security protocols used for authentication. Alternatively, the attacker spoofs a trusted resource, such as an access point, and uses it to perform credential harvesting and then uses the stolen account details to access the network. Cloud access. Many companies now run part or all of their network services via internet accessible clouds. The attacker only needs to find one account, service, or host with weak credentials to gain access. The attacker is likely to target the accounts used to develop services in the cloud or manage cloud systems. They may also try to attack the cloud service provider as a way of accessing the victim system. Bluetooth network. The threat actor exploits a vulnerability or misconfiguration to transmit a malicious file to a user's device over the Bluetooth personnel area wireless networking protocol. Default credentials. The attacker gains controls of a network device or app because it has been left configured with a default password. Default credentials are likely to be published in the product setup documentation or are otherwise easy to discover. Open source port. The threat actor is able to establish an unauthenticated connection to a logical TCP or UDP network port. The server will run an application to process network traffic arriving over the port. The software might be vulnerable to exploit code or to service disruption. Servers have to open necessary ports to make authorized network applications and services work. However, as part of reducing the attack service, servers should not be configured to allow traffic on any unnecessary ports. Networks can use secure design principles, access control, firewalls, and intrusion detection to reduce the attack surfaces. Alrighty, thick pill level of confidence. Lure-based vectors. A lure is something specifically attractive or interesting that causes its target to want it, even though it may be concealing something dangerous, like a hook. In cybersecurity terms, when the target opens the file bait, it delivers a malicious payload hook that will typically give the threat actor control over the system or perform service disruption. If the threat actor cannot gain sufficient access to run a remote or local exploit directly, a lure might trick a user into facilitating the attack. The following media are commonly used as lures. Removable device. The attacker conceals malware on a USB thumb drive or memory card and tries to trick employees into connecting the media to a PC, laptop, or smartphone. For some exploits, simply connecting the media may be sufficient to run the malware. More typically, the attacker may need the employee to open a file in a vulnerable application or run a setup program. In a drop attack, the threat actor simply leaves infected USB sticks in office grounds, reception areas, or parking lots in the expectation that at least one employee will pick one up and plug it into a computer. Executable file. The threat actor conceals exploited code in a program file. One example is Trojan horse malware. A Trojan is a program that seems to be something free and useful or fun, but it actually contains a process that will create backdoors access to the computer for the threat actor. But it actually contains a process that will create backdoor access to the computer for the threat actor. Document files. The threat actor conceals malicious code by embedding it in word processing and PDF format files. This can take advantage of scripting features or simply exploiting a vulnerability in the document viewer or editor software. Image files. The threat actor conceals exploited code with an image file. Targets a vulnerability in browser or document editing software. The threat actor conceals exploited code within an image file that targets a vulnerability in browser or document editing software. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can. These vectors expose a large and diverse attack surface from the USB and flash card readers installed on most computers to the software used to browse websites and view edit documents. Reducing this attack surface requires effective endpoint security management using controls such as vulnerability management, antivirus, program execution control, and intrusion detection. Message-based vectors. When using a file-based lure, the threat actor needs a mechanism to deliver the file and a message that will trick a user into opening the file on their computer. Consequently, any features that allow direct messaging to network users must be considered as part of the potential attack surface. Email. The attacker sends a malicious file attachment via email or via any other communication systems that allows attachments. The attacker needs to use social engineering techniques to persuade or trick the user into opening the attachment. I'm being blinded. Hold on. Holy shit. Short message services. The file or a link to the file is sent to a mobile device using the text messaging handler built into smartphone firmware and a protocol called Signaling System 7, SS7. Organization is SMS and the SS7 protocol are associated with numerous vulnerabilities. Additionally, an organization is unlikely to have any monitoring capability of SMS as it is operated by the handset or subscriber identity module, the SIM card provider. Instant messaging. There are many replacements for SMS that run on Windows, Android, or iOS devices. These can support voice and video messaging plus file attachment. Most of these services are secured using encryption and offer considerably more security than SMS, but they can still contain software vulnerabilities. The use of encryption can make it difficult for an organization to scan messages and attachments for threats. Web and social media. Malware may be concealed and files attached to posts are presented as downloads. An attacker may compromise a site so that it automatically infects vulnerable browser software, a drive-by download. Social media may also be used more subtly, such as disinformation campaign that persuades users to install a must-have app that is actually a Trojan. The most powerful exploits are zero-click. Most file-based exploit code has to be deliberately opened by the user. Zero-click that means simply receiving an attachment or viewing an image on my web page triggers the exploit. Message-based vectors can also be exploited by a threat actor to persuade a user to reveal a password or weaken the security configuration using some type of pretext. This type of attack might be perpetuated simply by placing a voice call to the user. Alrighty. I think after this we may call it. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. I want to eat some food. Um, some hot food that I cooked. All right. Supply chain attack surface. A supply chain is the end-to-end process of designing, manufacturing, distributing goods and services to a customer rather than attack the target directly. A threat actor may seek ways to infiltrate it via companies in its supply chain. One high-profile example of this is the Target data breach, which was made via credentials held by the company's building systems vendor. The process of ensuring reliable sources of equipment and software is called procurement management. In procurement management, it is helpful to distinguish several types of relationships. All right. The process of ensuring reliable sources of equipment is in software is called procurement management. In procurement management, it is helpful to distinguish several types of relationships. Supplier obtains products directly from a manufacturer to sell in bulk to other businesses. This type of trade is referred to as business to business, B2B. Vendor obtains products from suppliers to sell to retail businesses, B2B, or directly to customers, B2C. A vendor might add some level of customization and direct support. Business partner implies a closer relationship where two companies share quite closely aligned goals and marketing opportunities. For example, Microsoft is a major software manufacturer and vendor, but it is not feasible for it to establish direct relationship with all its potential customers. To expand its markets, it developed partner relationships with original equipment manufacturer, OEMs, and solutions partners. Microsoft operates a program of certification and training for its partners, which improves product support and security awareness. Each supplier and vendor has its own supply chain. For example, a motherboard manufacturer and supplier will use companies to fabricate individual chip components. The supply chain extends to distribution, so delivery companies and couriers are part of it. This supply chain breadth and complexity expose organizations to a huge attack surface. For example, for a computer motherboard to be trustworthy, the supply chain of chip manufacturer, firmware, code developer, OEM, reseller, and courier delivery company and administrative staff responsible for provisioning the computing device to the end user must all be trustworthy. Anyone with the time and resources to modify the computer's firmware could create backdoor access. The same is true for any computer or network hardware, software, or services. Establishing a trusted supply chain for computer equipment and services essentially means denying malicious actors the time or resources to modify the assets supplied. For most businesses, use of a reputable vendor will represent the best practical effort at securing the supply chain. Government, military, security services, and large enterprises will exercise greater security. Particular care should be taken of using second-hand machines. The IT industry also depends on a trade in services as well as physical assets. A managed service provider, MSP, provisions and support IT resources such as network security or web infrastructure. MSPs are useful when organization finds it cheaper or more reliable to outsource all or part of IT provisions rather than try to manage it directly. From a security point of view, this type of outsourcing is complex, as it can be difficult to monitor the managed service provider. The managed service provider's employees are all potential sources of insider threat. Finish tasks. All right, we have 7 more to go, and then we're good for today. So we're going to do this, all right? Review activity, attack surfaces. Even though I'm hungry as fuck, we'll get this done. A company uses stock photos from a site distributing copyright-free media to illustrate its website and internal presentation. Subsequently, one of the company's computers is found infected with malware that was downloaded by code embedded in the headers of a photo file obtained from the site. What threat vectors does this attack use? Um, God, I can't remember the fucking name of it, dude. Uh, Almost social engineering. Transmission vector is image based. The use of a site known to be used by the organization makes this a supply chain vulnerability, even though the images are not paid for. It's not stated explicitly, but the attack is also likely to depend on a vulnerability in the software used to download and or view or edit the photo. Did you get this right? No. A company's systems are disrupted by a ransomware attack launched via a vulnerability in a network monitoring tool used by the company's outsourced IT management. Aside from a software vulnerability, what part of the company's attack surface has been used as a threat vector? B2B or B2? Yeah, I think it's B2B, right? This is a supply chain vulnerability. Oh, specifically arising from the company's managed service provider. Okay, we didn't get that one either. A company uses cell phones to provide IT support to its remote employees, but it does not maintain an authoritative directory of contact numbers for support staff. Risks from which specific threat vectors are substantially increased by this oversight? Internal threat actors? Voice calls. The risk that a threat actor could impersonate IT support personnel to trick employees into revealing confidential information or installing malware. Oh, didn't get that one right either. Okay, we're going to call it right now, and we'll get back to this. All right, but anyways, yeah, we're going to call the stream. I guess we can turn this on because the light is shining through and blinding me. So yeah, everybody on YouTube, stay warm if you need to stay warm, stay cool if you need to stay cool, stay healthy, stay safe, stay sober if you're choosing sobriety. Because I'm on my sobriety trip. And yeah, even though my case got dismissed, I'm still not going to drink or smoke weed until maybe the 4th of July, which we might be in Washington, D.C. So, everybody in YouTube land, yeah, peace. Love you. And broadcast quick. And broadcast quick.